Hi folks, I'm out here collecting sagebrush seeds today. I thought I'd just do a kind of follow along because it sure would have benefited me if I had some of this like visual learning material when I was first figuring this out. So with me I've got a trusty little paper lunch sack that I collect seeds in. You can tell by all the labels on there that I've used it multiple times. I just grabbed this seed head and kind of give it a little wiggle, and you can see there's quite a bit coming off. This is going to grab all the seed, all the remnant flower material, all that kind of thing. And then you can see inside my sack here, I've got quite a bit. Sagebrush seed is incredibly small. So if you were to look at this stuff in my hand, it would be pretty hard to distinguish what is seed and what is not. And since I'm not selling seed, I'm just propagating plants, I honestly just take a handful of this, sprinkle it across the top of a tray, and then call it good. And then in the spring, when they all start to come up, like 10 or more to a tray, I either thin or separate them out. So again, that's just a quick little wiggle, 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 and they're in your bag. You can also kind of do a light like strip here, but I prefer not to do that because it does get like this resinous stuff on your hands for this particular one. And I think just the wiggling is actually pretty effective for this one. You can hear Ava dog jangling around down there somewhere. On this property, we're lucky enough to have quite a bit of sagebrush, and so I feel really comfortable collecting a lot of seed here. There are numerous plants, and I try to collect at least from a couple dozen different plants to ensure I'm getting some good diversity of the genetic pool that we have here. And then between that and seeds I've collected from a friend's place that has even older, bigger sagebrush, I'm really excited to kind of start this little batch of seeds this year. So that's it. That's gathering my sagebrush seeds for next year, and really almost this year because I'm a little behind, but it's been weirdly warm and wet, and so I didn't really want to collect stuff when it was still wet, and then I'd have to deal with potential for mold, and that's just nobody's idea of fun. So I'm going to try to crinkle my bag here real loud for a second to get us a quick look in there. And I don't know if my phone can manage that, but you can see I've got quite a bit of material in there. The quantity of that is actually seed is probably incredibly minimal. But again, like I said, I just sprinkle a whole little handful on each cell and call it good. I also transport seeds around on my shirt, which is great for sagebrush, but less great for things like hound's tongue, which is invasive here. But yeah, that's the gist of it. And now I've got this lovely bag. I'm going to probably collect a bit more down here. I've been collecting some rabbit brush as well. And there's a few other things that I collect on this property, which is a great resource to have literally in our backyard. So now we're looking at some rabbit brush, gray rabbit brush, and same idea. I just come in and kind of grab a few seed heads, kind of pop them off in my hand, and then sprinkle into my bag. And I didn't mention this when I don't think I mentioned this earlier with the sagebrush, but I try to collect just a little bit from each plant, especially some of these that there's not quite as much rabbit brush as there is sagebrush on the property, so I try to grab just a little bit, so we're taking a little bit of the seed potential and not, a ton of it. And then I can go to these other plants over here, do the same thing, and I end up with quite a quantity of seed that more than matches my need, and feels to me like an ethical way to procure seeds. I got a visitor. Oh, Eva. I'm not collecting off this patch today, but this is some beautiful Oregon grape that's down at the corner of the property. And seeing it in this stage in particular, when everything else has lost its leaves and we're right around the holidays where it's this perfect, wonderful, like shiny green and red tone, I ask myself why we still plant and use holly, particularly since it's invasive in a significant portion of the state that I live in Washington. So I have big plans to propagate a bunch of it and use it in cut flower arrangements, and particularly in the fall winter season when we're looking at holiday arrangements. And then also to plant more of it, obviously, because it's just a magnificent plant and great habitat and all that kind of stuff. But look how gorgeous that is. Like, especially now it's late December, just this beautiful rosy burgundy red in the landscape.